Do you have a client that is particular, demanding, and difficult, and you're not quite sure how to approach them? I have a few ideas for you. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. My name is Andrea Eppolito, and I specialize in celebrating life, luxury, and above all else, love. Based in Las Vegas, Nevada, I exist to bend the world to my will so that I can create extraordinary experiences for people who lead extraordinary lives. Now, more often than not, that means in my capacity as a wedding planner, but I am a business expert, an entrepreneur, a lifestyle enthusiast, and today I want to talk to you about how you can approach somebody who is difficult and demanding and perhaps isn't going through your process the way you really want them to. So the first step is I choose to believe that most people do not exist in the world because they want to be a beast. Now, are there some people out there that are just difficult, unhappy, and cranky? Of course there are. Sure. Do I work with them? No, I don't. I really choose to believe that nobody wants to be a bad client. And I really try to remember that when somebody is operating outside of their standard behavioral pattern, it is normally motivated by fear. It's not because they're bad people. It's not because they are against you or out to get you. It's because they're afraid of something. They're afraid of making a mistake. They're afraid that they misinterpreted something. They're afraid that their budget is going out of whack. They're afraid that they're going to hurt somebody's feelings. And so first things first, always go into it with the assumption that this person is not trying to be difficult. This is just somebody who is afraid of something. The second thing that I always do when I am approached or I am encountering somebody who is particularly difficult or demanding is I really choose to look at the conflict and the challenge as an opportunity to strengthen relationships. Because if this person is my counterpart, if they're my teammate, if they're the opposite side of the same coin, then my goal is to make sure that I reframe the situation so that it's myself and my client, or myself and my vendor, or myself and the venue against the problem. It's never you against me, and it's never my business against your needs. It's always the two of us against the conflict. And that really reframes things and lets people know that you are on their side and that you are here to fight the thing, whatever that thing is that's out there. You're looking at it as a joint effort, and it really gives you an opportunity to let people feel like you are their teammate. The third thing that I do, and this is hard for me because I'm a talker, but I really try to listen. So when somebody approaches you and they are unhappy or they're frustrated or they're in this place that they just can't break out of, your job in that moment is to find your own place of quiet so that you can just listen. You just want to take in all of the information that they're giving you. And this does two different things. Number one, it allows the person to vent and to offload all of that emotional baggage that they are just like hanging on to really, really, really tight. The second thing is it does give you an education, and it gives you a chance to go, oh, okay, they're saying this. Let me write that down. Oh, okay, this is a problem. Or I didn't hear that from them before. So when you take all of this information in, then you make your notes and you repeat it back to them. And you say, I just want to make sure that I fully understand. These are the problems. These are the things that have happened. This is, I hear that you feel like this. I'm getting that you are unhappy about this. Am I correct? Because before you even attempt to go forward in a solution, you really want to give them an opportunity to offload all of the problems and to just kind of get all of that out. So you get it all out, then you repeat it to make sure, like, is this everything? Do I have a full global perspective of what's going on here? And every time you repeat it back to them, you're able to clarify a little bit more what exactly it is that's like gnawing at them. And this gives you a really great opportunity to be empathetic. This isn't about accepting blame. It's about acknowledging the fact that you can't fight with a feeling. Logic doesn't apply to how somebody feels in a moment. And so if somebody is upset about pricing or availability, if they have a service issue, whatever it is that's happening, you can't argue with a feeling. And so being empathetic isn't about trying to assume blame or to take blame. It's not about trying to logically talk them out of the thing that is upsetting them. It's just about saying, I see you and I hear you, and I'm acknowledging the fact that your feeling is real. You may not feel like that feeling is justified, but you're acknowledging to someone else that how they feel is legitimate, how they feel has value, and how they feel is going to impact everything that you do on a go-forward basis. And if you do need to apologize, let's say that you did something wrong, let's say you made a mistake, or you unintentionally hurt somebody's feelings, whatever it is that's going on, if you need to apologize, you apologize once. That's it. I have a little girl, she's 10, and she is famous for saying, I'm sorry, a million times. And I just told her last night, I said, baby, you apologize one time, and only if you are really wrong. Now, if you're not wrong, and you don't feel like you've done anything, there are still ways to acknowledge somebody's feelings and say, I'm so sorry that you feel that way. It wasn't my intention to hurt you. You can be sorry for the outcome without being sorry for the act. And so be very careful and very specific with how you phrase your apologies. This isn't about accepting blame, and it's certainly not about taking any liability if you're the business, but it is about turning around and saying, I would never, as a professional, as your friend, as your teammate, as your planner, as your partner, I would never want to put you in a position where you were made to feel like this. And I hear that you feel this way, and I can sense that you feel it. And I'm sorry that this scenario, because remember, it's the two of you against the thing, I'm sorry that this scenario has created that feeling. It certainly was not my intention. That alone should be like, that should take the edge off from everybody. It should just lessen the intensity of the emotion. And so now that you've taken it down a notch, now you want to say, okay, how do we find a pathway forward? What does success look like for you? And I will oftentimes ask someone this and say to them, what does a successful outcome look like? How can I get you to a place where you feel good about the position that we're in? What do you need in order to move forward? Now, I'm not promising anything. I'm just putting it in their court. What do you need in order to feel good about this? What steps can we take to move forward? And sometimes those asks are a little bit unrealistic, at which point I can be honest and say, look, as much as I would love to make that happen for you, that is not a possibility. However, I can do this, or I understand what you're looking for. I don't know if it's possible, but let me go back and work on it because I think I can find another way to get us there. Because every piece of information they give you gets you one step closer to a successful outcome. And so if somebody says to me, well, I don't want to pay for that, my answer very often is, well, if you want something, you are going to have to pay for it. But I understand if you don't value that particular piece at that price point. Or I understand if maybe you and I feel together that this isn't quite worth it. Let me go back to the drawing board, and I'm not going to be able to just go and secure you a line discount because that's not how we do things. However, let me look for alternatives. Let me look for a substitution. Let me see what I can provide you with at that value, and I'll get back to you. And then you want to document it and you want to follow up. I take notes anytime there is any difficult conversation, whether it's with a client. Now, I'm going to say my clients are fantastic. They're lovely. They're wonderful people. And it is very rare that I have anyone who is difficult for me, because I truly do work with the loveliest humans alive. But even they sometimes will have challenges, even if it's not with me, with a property, with a vendor, with whatever. And I'm always taking notes when we're having those phone calls. So as soon as the conversation is over, I always sit down, I take my notes, and I write them an email. I start by thanking them for bringing me the problem. I always thank them, because really what they've done is they've brought me an opportunity to show them just how much I care. They've given me an opportunity as a problem solver to make their world a better place. And so I always start by saying, thank you so much for trusting me. Thank you for bringing me this. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to service you so that we can move forward together. And then I outline the information that I got from them, everything that I heard. I repeat it back to them in writing. I let them know what the steps are that I'm going to take. And then I set boundaries around the entire process. So this is something that, whether it's a difficult client or a demanding client, setting boundaries is so important. It's something that I personally struggled with for a really long time, and that I hope that I'm getting better at. But boundaries could look something like, okay, so I am going to get you this information within 48 hours. At that time, you'll have 48 business hours to come up with a decision. Or I will get you the information by end of day tomorrow. I am not going to be available on Friday, but we can connect anytime on Monday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It could be something as simple as saying, I need the information back in writing, or please send it to me in an email as opposed to an Instagram DM. Setting boundaries not only helps you manage the process, but it also teaches your clients, and it trains people, whether they are difficult, demanding, or completely lovely. It teaches people and trains them how to interact in your process so that you can do your best work. Now, if you go through all of these steps and you are still faced with one of those people who is not lovely, who is not respectful, who is not looking for a teammate, and who doesn't really want to give you the opportunity to be successful, they're determined to be unhappy, then at that point, the very best thing that you can do for yourself and for them is to separate. And that conversation sounds a lot like, listen, I just wanted to ask you how you think it's going. Because to be totally honest, I think we can both agree that we aren't on the same path. We don't see this in the same way. We're not moving forward with the same intention. And the last thing that I want to do is be a source of stress or angst or discomfort for you. And so what I've done is I have outlined a process of separation that's going to allow me to turn over all of my work product to you so that you could move forward with another professional or another team member that really sees the world the way you do. And it's going to allow you to have a much better outcome. Are you able to go through that right now? Yeah, it's firing a client, or it's firing a vendor, or it's separating with a friend. It's always difficult. It's always kind of stressful, but I promise you, it is the very best thing that you can do for yourself, your business, your clients, and your team. Now, this topic was sent in on www.andreaeppolito.com/ask. I have that page on my website because I love this community. I love the people that I work for, the people that I work with. I think that I am the luckiest girl in the world. And I remember not so long ago, 15 or 20 years, when the World Wide Web didn't exist, when resources weren't out there. And the thing that I love most these days is helping the world become a more beautiful place, one business, one couple, one event at a time. And so if you are a wedding professional, if you are an event creative, if you are anyone who has a business, and if you are a couple and you have any questions, please go to andreaeppolito.com. There is a page that says ask. Fill out the form, ask your question. I will pull my topics from there, and then I will meet you back here in a week, celebrating life, luxury, and above all else, love, hopefully with the answers that you're looking for. Thanks so much for spending your day with me, and I will speak to you soon.